This is ICC Bank presents Cheer for Greatness. We're building up to match number 40 of the 2023 Men's ODI World Cup, an all-European affair between England and Netherlands. A game that I'm sure Steve Harmison, who joins us, would have called very differently if we were doing this at the start of the tournament. But given everything, given the form, do you think England still go in as favourites for this one?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They still go in as favourites. Even though they haven't played their best tournament, for me, I think England are still a fine cricket team with some, they've got world-class players who have been so good for so many years. They just, this minute in time, they find themselves in a little bit of a rut that it just hasn't gone for them. Nobody can put their finger on what's gone wrong. Nobody from England or from anywhere else in the world. You'd think that England will be bottom of the table at this point, but for me, going into this game, 2 must-win games for England to qualify for the Champions Trophy. I'll make England favourites for this game.
Usually I'd ask you who the side you're cheering for, but I'm not going to waste any time on that. Instead, tell me a player who you're cheering for, someone from the English camp you really want to put in the kind of performance which can lift spirits at the end of this dispiriting campaign.
There's only one player, and that for me is Josh Buttler. I really want him to be, you talk about cheer for greatness. In one-day cricket, in white ball cricket, he is greatness. He's proven it so many times before. Unfortunately, him alone, himself, as well as his team, they just haven't performed in this tournament. And if there's one player in these last 2 games I'd love to see get back to their best, it would be Josh Buttler, because it has been a difficult tournament for him. I think if I was coach or one of the senior players, I'd be reminding them that how great he is, and hopefully he can go out and lead by example against the Netherlands, and if anything, get the qualifications for the Champions Trophy, which I would hope in 2025 he will lead England to, and that for me would be one of my hopes for the next 24 hours.
I'll tell you who is cheering for Netherlands. A lot of our fans, we asked them to tell us who they are cheering for, and one of the top comments comes from Sujeev Saxena, who says, "Tough game this, but I'm supporting the men in orange this time. It's their chance to end the tournament on a high note and to prove their big team mettle to the world. Go bust the leader." Not surprising, where the neutrals or where most of the people watching want to lie on this one. But just from a Netherlands standpoint, Steve, if they do get the chance to decide at the toss, what do you think suits better? How should they bat first or bowl first to give themselves the best chance here in Pune?
I think I'd bowl first. I think I would put England in, team that are struggling with confidence, not being able to put huge totals on the board, and seeing if I could manage to nip a couple out in the power play, because they've struggled in the power play, England have, and try and put a little bit more pressure on that way. If you go out and bat first, you give England a chance to see what they need to chase. The game's in front of them. So for me, if I had any chance at the toss, I'd bowl first, try and put England under pressure by the way of what's happened in the previous games. And if England do falter in that power play, then the men in orange might have a chance of just bringing an upset.
Great. Thank you for your time, Steve. You've heard it from Steve Harmison. You've heard it from the fans. Tell us in the comment section who you'll be cheering for in England versus Netherlands. This was ICC Bank presents Cheer for Greatness.